Uncharted games, one of the most popular entries in the PlayStation exclusive roster. The first one launched in 2007 and it got better and better ever since. Yes, you probably didn't even need this little presentation. I mean, who doesn't like and know Drake and its adventures? Am I right? Some would say that Tomb Raider is better, but we don't make fun of disabled people in this channel. Sometimes. Well, anyway, I love them. And even though they aren't the most complex games ever, they still have an extreme importance in my journey and preferences as a gamer. Can I unalive myself now? Well, I decided to play the original trilogy, and today I'm gonna talk a little bit about them and why they are so important to me, each game having its own unique, important fact, or important facts. I will talk about Uncharted 4 too, but in a different video, so make sure to subscribe and like. Well, let's go! As you can probably tell, and since I say it in almost every video, I really like video games.
Got introduced to them when I was like 6.
With Super Mario on the Game Boy, and I've been playing almost every day ever since. From my childhood with the Game Boy, of course, and the PS2 and the PSP, to nowadays with the PlayStation 5, it's just something that I enjoy doing in my spare time. But there were times when I didn't have the latest gaming system, like a lot of people. In my case, it was the PlayStation 3 era. I only got the PS3 a year before the PlayStation 4 came out. So if you think a little, you can probably guess that my first interaction with the Uncharted series was either on a friend's house or too late. The first one being the correct answer. To be more precise, in Diogo Afonso's house on his fat PS3. He was indeed a true homie. Anyway, the Uncharted I played on his house was the first one. And it was amazing. I was sitting in his bed when he booted up Uncharted 1. Ooh, that music coming into play, oh my fucking god. And then he made me play the coolest section possible. The zombies or whatever these guys are part. It was also spooky and cool, but as I said, I only had a PlayStation 2, so playing that game in my free own time was a far dream. I eventually was able to buy a PlayStation 3, but it would take a little bit of time, and I will talk about that story later in the video. Well, some years passed, Uncharted was kinda lost in my mind, I was in like 6th grade, and buying a PS3 was not on the plans. I had God of War and Hulk the game. I didn't need anything else, and that was true until I saw an ad for Uncharted 3 on the television. I once again got my mind just absolutely destroyed. That was just the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. A guy hanging from a plane? What? I needed to buy it, and again, I did some years later. More on that story in a bit, stick to the video. After buying the PlayStation 3, my father gave me the option of buying 3 games. 3 cheap ones. Well, since Uncharted 3 in the day was expensive as hell, and I had some games that I only could buy, my mind just got thrown into that time and into that amazing game that I played in my friend's house, Uncharted 1. And bro, what a delightful experience that was. No regrets at all. Everyone says that this isn't really a great game, and after replaying the game, taking away the nostalgic factor, I really can see why. If compared to the other games, the action sequences are kinda lame, the story is the worst by far, the gameplay is just walk and shoot, there's no stealth, and the last boss fucking sucks. More than usual. There's tons of things, and I could go on and tell you why this game kind of fucking sucks. It's just the truth, and I know it's like 100% tied to the nostalgic factor. I know there's no argument to that, but come on, for someone that its favorite games were Secret Agent Clank and Sonic Heroes, which isn't bad by itself, this was just an amazing game. You start off in the middle of the ocean in a boat with a blonde chick that's shooting guys. There's a cool white bearded mustache badass guy coming off of a plane to save you. You can't really go wrong with this start. Then there's the submarines, and it's in a forest, and you shoot people, you just walk and shoot. Yes, it kind of sucks, but you walk and shoot people, so really cool. And in the ending, even though it really sucks, it doesn't at the same time, because it's a boat with an helicopter on flames. It's a great game. Come on. It is a really important game to me. It was one of my first games from the PlayStation 3, and it was the one that introduced me to... And now your hate on me will continue. Yes, that's right. Listen to me. I know I'm really likable, but you will probably hate me from now on. Okay. I not only think that Uncharted 1 is great, but I also don't think that Uncharted 2 is the most mind-boggling experience or the best game in the franchise. You can insult me now. I'm not afraid. Your pitiful words of hate are nothing if compared to the certain solitude that we will all feel in the end of our lives. It is undoubtedly the least important and memorable Drake adventure for me, but I can admit something. I am a man of rational thought. It is much better than the first installment. And when I replayed them recently, I had a lot more fun with the second one. I mean, a lot. It's a lot more smoother, you don't just walk and shoot as verticality, you can stealth with some degree of reliability, gameplay is much more precise, animations are much better, everything is great in comparison. And this is just a gameplay forefront, because as I said, all of the game just got miles away better. The story, even though it is not the strongest point, is much better than the first one. The set pieces are... whoa. No other word I can use here, honestly, just whoa. Graphically, very good. It still holds up to this day. It has its own charm, you know, it's very beautiful. And the last boss doesn't suck ass. It isn't really very good, but it is better than this. And do I need to talk about the legendary start? Hanging in a snowy mountain by your fingertips with a train, climb the train. It's great, it's probably the best start for an Uncharted game. It's amazing. But yeah, overall, this is what I have to say about Uncharted 2. Undoubtedly a big step up from the previous game, but it didn't really leave a big mark on me. And now that I'm thinking about it, I do know why. When I was given Uncharted 2, I think it was on a birthday, so at the same time I got given Uncharted 3. So I kinda rushed Uncharted 2 to play Uncharted 3. But anyway, is it a great game? Yes. Is it better than the first one? Yes, but it's less important for me. Is it my favorite from the original trilogy? No, because that spot belongs to one game and one game only. The game that literally made me buy a PlayStation 3. The game that I half watched on YouTube on Venom Extreme's channel because I couldn't wait to play it. The game that I replayed at least 10 times. The game that made me a gay. Yeah, that game made me fucking gay. Let's start from the beginning with how I was introduced to Uncharted 3. A television ad. Oh, I already kinda told you, but let me remind you really quickly. In the middle of toys and family games passing through the television, there was an ad that just stood out the most. Like, just imagine a 10-year-old in the peak of its autism watching an ad for Uncharted 3 in the television. I'm certain I shat my pants, like 100% certain. It's like I'm there, I'm watching an ad for a toy of a dog that bites, and I see this on the television. I see this on the television. That trailer was one of the most impeccable things I've ever watched in my life. But there was one big problem. I didn't have a PS3 and my parents wouldn't give me one because I kinda already had a PS2 and a PSP. Buying a PlayStation 3 was completely out of the equation, but I tried my luck. I tried asking, needless to say it didn't work, and I even tried putting Uncharted 3 on the computer so when my father would go to the computer, he would see the Uncharted 3 videos and he would be like, oh, my son wants a PlayStation 3, and it didn't work. It really didn't work. And well, that desire to play Uncharted 3 and not being able to was actually great because it made me embrace my top G side. So I started getting every penny to buy the precious. The problem was that by my calculations that would take a lot of time. But I could wait. I would be sad, but I could wait. And that's what I did. Birthday after birthday, Christmas after Christmas, selling paper guns, rubber bracelets, so I could buy it, and after some time, I was able to. But my happiness would be fleeting, because as you can probably guess, to play on a gaming system, you kinda need games, and I didn't have money for the games. I know, kind of a miscalculation, but it is what it is. Luckily, I have the best family ever, so my father told me to pick 3 games to buy. 3 cheap ones, and well, I chose Uncharted 1, it was great, and I don't regret playing it. But after some time again, I think it was on a birthday, as I said, I got Uncharted 2 and 3, rushed to play the second one so I could play the third one, and oh my fucking god, I was finally able to play it, and it was fucking great. G-R-E-A-T. I told you that Uncharted 2 had the best beginning of an Uncharted game, right? Yeah, I was lying. I just love the start of Uncharted 3. It's not as epic and cinematic as the Uncharted 2, but you get to beat on people with fish and sticks, so it is kinda great, you know? You run on a bar fight, then there's a twist, and it's basically that. I know it doesn't seem like much, but come on, man. I love the fight-only sequences. It's just something that I really like in these games, and yes, I know they are really simple, but they are cool. And by the way, since we are on these fighting sequences, let me just add something. Who was the mastermind behind the creation of these guys? Who the fuck was? It surely got fired because they didn't make an appearance on Uncharted 4. And it's not that they are hard to beat, no, it's they are absolutely fucking boring to beat. It's not good. I'd really rather fight at Dwarf. Anyway, as I said, I replayed all of the Uncharted from the original trilogy. And Uncharted 3, just like back in the day, was the one that gave me the most fun. Making a big mention to its over-the-top action sequences. Its epic set pieces are just completely unbelievable. Being the greatest part of the game by a big margin. The spiders, the plane, the horses, the boat, everything, it is kind of overwhelming, but who the fuck cares? I'm there having a great time. It's like I'm playing Indiana Jones, the video game. It's amazing. And something that I want to talk to, and that was a big step up from the other games, was Nathan itself. He got a lot more complex. You can now clearly see that he's just someone that only wants bigger and bigger treasures. He wants to embark on this mission not because that is a huge underlying threat to the world. No, he wants to embark on this mission because he wants to prove to his ego that he's the best, that he can do whatever the fuck he wants. That's really cool, but of course there are tons of shitty things on the story. First of all, the characters, like not Elena and Drake, of course, like the random ass characters that appear in the middle of the game, you don't know who they are, and Naughty Dog tries to make them seem important, which they are not. I don't really get it. It is what it is. Also, the main villain. Look, the Uncharted games are not known for their impeccable villains, but this game it's worse than Lazarovich, and it's as bad as the villain in the first game. The boss itself too, like the boss is a fight, like a normal fight. I don't really understand why they would do that, really. But I like how she dies. Her death is really cool, and Nate trying to save her at the end, it's like he's proving to her that he is better than her. Saving her would be the last biggest humiliation possible, and I love it. But well, concluding all of this, Uncharted is great and really badass, and it was an extremely important game in my development as a person who plays games. I'm not saying gamer anymore. They are far from being perfect and had a lot to evolve, which they did, more on that on the Uncharted 4 video, but I still think that they are great with the ability of giving you a lot of fun time. And for me they are even greater because every time I replay them, I am thrown to those experiences that I had when I was a child. So this is a trilogy that I will forever cherish in my heart for the pleasure that it gives me. Drake gives me pleasure. Yes, well, this is it. Thank you for watching. Play Uncharted 1 with an open mind and... como é que se diz em português? Peace...
É paz, não?
Paz! Paz!